You're living your life day by day, and you might not realize it, but there are inevitable, universal truths that shape your journey. Time marches forward, and with it, the number of years you accumulate. Let's talk about what happens when you reach 75, and why by then nearly all of your struggles, your health complications, your potential decline, can be traced back to 5 key factors. This isn't just about the random cruelties of life. This is about the way you engage with your body, your mind, your relationships, and your environment. First, we need to understand that the human body is remarkably resilient, but resilience doesn't mean invulnerability. As you get older, your physical structures, your organs, your joints, your bones, your muscles, begin to deteriorate, and this deterioration isn't without cause. The first factor that significantly influences your health at this stage is cardiovascular disease. It's a silent killer creeping up over decades. You might not notice it until it's too late. It manifests in heart attacks, strokes, and gradual heart failure. But the truth is, this could have been mitigated if you took care of your diet, exercised, and avoided the behaviors that lead to arterial blockages and high blood pressure. Second, we cannot ignore the role of cancer. Yes, we've all heard of it, and it strikes fear into the heart of anyone who's ever had a loved one suffer from it. After 75, a good portion of people are at risk of some form of cancer, whether it's directly caused by their lifestyle choices or the accumulation of years. The way you live your life, your exposure to toxins, your diet, your stress levels, all of these things contribute. And yet, there's something tragic in the inevitability of it. By then, if you haven't taken precautions, the damage has been done. The key question becomes, what could you have done differently in your 30s, 40s, or 50s to prevent it? Next, we talk about respiratory diseases. Breathing is something we take for granted. We inhale and exhale, and we forget that the air we breathe, the pollutants we encounter, can erode the quality of our lungs over decades. As you age, you're more vulnerable to diseases like pneumonia or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This is one of those areas where early prevention, avoiding smoking, protecting yourself from environmental hazards, matters more than you realize. Then we come to diabetes, a disease that is increasingly common in our society. When you're over 75, if you've been sedentary, eating poorly, and avoiding the discipline of regulating your blood sugar, you're in the danger zone. Diabetes brings with it an avalanche of complications: blindness, kidney failure, nerve damage. All of this is preventable if you understand the significance of balance, of not overindulging in sugar, of keeping your body moving and your diet in check. Lastly, let's not overlook the most insidious killer, mental health. Cognitive decline, depression, and dementia affect a staggering number of elderly people, but this is the one category where prevention isn't just about physical discipline. It's about the decisions you make on a daily basis about how you engage with life. Whether you stay connected to your family and friends, whether you challenge your mind, whether you push yourself to stay curious and engaged with the world around you. Your mental state can either prolong your life or shorten it, depending on the way you treat your inner world. Now, let's confront the stark reality. These 5 factors: cardiovascular disease, cancer, respiratory diseases, diabetes, and mental health deterioration, dominate the landscape of death after 75. But this is not some fatalistic proposition. No, it's a call to action. You are not helpless in the face of these inevitabilities. The choices you make day in and day out compound. The habits you build in your earlier years, the discipline you cultivate now, echo into the future. Your future self will either thank you or curse you for the decisions you make today. As we age, our bodies undergo a series of changes. many of which affect our cardiovascular system. The heart and blood vessels, once resilient and strong, gradually lose their efficiency, and this decline is one of the most significant contributors to death after 75. Cardiovascular disease, which encompasses a range of heart-related issues such as heart attacks, strokes, and chronic heart failure, is a silent killer, often developing over decades. Yet, what's most tragic is that much of this can be prevented or mitigated by taking simple but profound steps in earlier life. The heart is an organ designed for endurance. It beats relentlessly throughout our lives, pumping blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of the body. The human circulatory system is an intricate network of arteries, veins, and capillaries working together in a symbiotic relationship. However, the wear and tear from years of poor dietary choices, lack of physical activity, and exposure to stress takes a heavy toll. Over time, the walls of blood vessels can become thickened or narrowed due to a buildup of plaque, a process known as atherosclerosis. This can severely reduce blood flow to vital organs, including the heart and brain, leading to potentially fatal outcomes like heart attacks or strokes. The development of cardiovascular disease is often insidious. It doesn't announce itself with immediate symptoms. In many cases, people are unaware that their arteries are narrowing or their hearts are being strained until a catastrophic event, such as a heart attack or stroke, occurs. The key risk factors: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and smoking are often the silent contributors to this process. High blood pressure, for example, causes the heart to work harder to pump blood, which can eventually lead to the thickening of the heart muscle, reducing its ability to function properly. If this high pressure continues over time, it can lead to heart failure, where the heart is simply too weak to maintain adequate blood circulation. Similarly, high cholesterol levels contribute to the formation of plaque within the arteries, restricting blood flow and increasing the risk of clot formation. These clots can break off and travel to the brain or heart, resulting in a stroke or heart attack. While these conditions are largely preventable through diet and exercise, many people fail to recognize their own risk factors or neglect to take the necessary steps to manage them, often because they feel healthy or don't experience immediate symptoms. This is why cardiovascular disease is so deadly. It can progress silently until it's too late. Moreover, lifestyle choices play a monumental role in determining the health of your cardiovascular system. Poor diet, particularly diets high in saturated fats, sugars, and processed foods, accelerates the process of plaque buildup and leads to obesity, another major risk factor for heart disease. Obesity causes additional strain on the heart and can lead to insulin resistance, which further complicates matters by increasing the risk of developing diabetes. Coupled with a sedentary lifestyle, which exacerbates all of these problems, the stage is set for the cardiovascular system to break down. On the flip side, regular physical activity is one of the most effective ways to maintain cardiovascular health. Exercise strengthens the heart, improves blood circulation, and helps to regulate cholesterol levels and blood pressure. Even modest amounts of physical activity, like daily walking or swimming, can have significant benefits in reducing the risks associated with cardiovascular disease. Furthermore, exercise can help reduce stress and anxiety, both of which are contributing factors to heart disease. It's also crucial to recognize the influence of stress on the cardiovascular system. Chronic stress leads to the release of stress hormones like cortisol, which can increase blood pressure and heart rate, putting additional strain on the heart. Over time, chronic stress can contribute to the development of atherosclerosis and heart disease. Learning to manage stress through relaxation techniques, mindfulness, or even simple lifestyle changes can have a profound impact on your cardiovascular health. Preventing cardiovascular disease after the age of 75 is a multifaceted approach that demands not just addressing physical risk factors, but also making intentional, conscious decisions about lifestyle. By maintaining a healthy weight, eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly, and managing stress, you can greatly reduce the risk of heart disease. Moreover, regular health checkups to monitor blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and overall heart function are critical in identifying potential issues before they turn fatal. Even small changes, like taking the stairs instead of the elevator or cutting back on processed foods, can make a huge difference in the long run. It's about taking control of your health, recognizing that the choices you make today will shape the quality and longevity of your life tomorrow. Cancer, a word that strikes fear into the hearts of many, is one of the leading causes of death for individuals over 75. It is a disease that doesn't discriminate, affecting people of all ages, but the risk increases as we grow older. The complexity of cancer lies not only in its nature, but also in its slow, insidious development. It's often something that evolves over decades, with the impact of our choices and environment accumulating silently. By the time the diagnosis comes, it can be too late for many. But what most people fail to recognize is that cancer is not merely an unavoidable fate. Many forms of cancer are preventable, or at least, their risks can be significantly reduced if we understand the factors that contribute to their development. The human body is, in many ways, a miraculous system. It has multiple mechanisms in place to protect itself against abnormal cell growth. Our immune system continuously surveys for cells that are damaged or mutated, and works to remove them before they can proliferate into tumors. However, as we age, these protective mechanisms become less efficient, and the cells in our body become more susceptible to mutation. This is part of the natural aging process, but it is also influenced by external factors. Cancer is fundamentally a disease of cellular mutations. When the body's normal process of cell division goes awry, and abnormal cells begin to divide uncontrollably. These mutations can be triggered by various factors, many of which are within our control. One of the most significant contributing factors to cancer risk is lifestyle choices. Smoking, for example, is one of the most well-known risk factors for cancer. Tobacco smoke contains thousands of chemicals, many of which are carcinogenic, meaning they have the ability to cause cancer by altering the DNA within cells. The longer a person smokes, the greater the likelihood that they will develop lung cancer or other types of cancers, including throat, mouth, and bladder cancer. Even for those who quit smoking, the damage done during years of exposure can still significantly increase the risk of cancer. The same is true for excessive alcohol consumption, which is linked to a variety of cancers, including liver, breast, and colorectal cancer. Alcohol can damage the cells of the body and, when consumed in excess, can overwhelm the body's ability to repair that damage. Diet plays a pivotal role as well. A diet high in processed foods, unhealthy fats, and sugars has been linked to several types of cancer, including colorectal cancer. Processed meats, such as bacon, sausages, and hot dogs, are classified as carcinogenic by the World Health Organization. The preservatives and chemicals used to enhance flavor and extend shelf life can alter the DNA in cells, leading to mutations that result in cancer. On the flip side, a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins provides the body with the necessary nutrients to repair and regenerate cells, making it far less likely that mutations will lead to cancer. Antioxidants, found abundantly in fruits like berries, and vegetables such as spinach and kale can help protect cells from the damage caused by free radicals, unstable molecules that can contribute to cancer development. Environmental factors are also a significant contributor to cancer risk. Exposure to toxic substances such as asbestos, radon, or certain chemicals in the workplace can increase the likelihood of developing cancer later in life. Additionally, prolonged exposure to ultraviolet UV radiation from the sun or tanning beds can cause skin cancer, including melanoma, one of the most aggressive forms. It is essential to protect yourself from excessive sun exposure by wearing sunscreen, hats, and protective clothing, and avoiding tanning beds entirely. Furthermore, certain viruses have been linked to cancer. The human papillomavirus HPV, for instance, is known to cause cervical cancer, as well as other types of cancer, including anal and oropharyngeal cancer. Vaccines, like the HPV vaccine, are available and can dramatically reduce the risk of these cancers. The hepatitis B and C viruses can increase the risk of liver cancer, highlighting the importance of vaccination and early detection for these infections. But cancer prevention is not only about avoiding harmful factors. Regular screening and early detection are powerful tools in the fight against cancer, particularly for those who are at higher risk due to family history or lifestyle choices. Mammograms, colonoscopies, and skin checks can detect cancer in its early stages when it is most treatable. People often ignore screenings because they are afraid of the results, but the reality is that catching cancer early significantly improves the chances of successful treatment and survival. As we age, it's essential to recognize that cancer is not an inevitability. While the risk increases with age, the choices we make in our younger and middle years have a profound impact on our long-term health. Understanding the connection between lifestyle, environment, and cancer risk can empower us to take charge of our health. Preventing cancer may not always be possible, but by making informed decisions, we can reduce our risk significantly, improve the quality of our lives, and increase the chances of a longer, healthier future. The key lies in awareness, prevention, and regular checkups that allow us to catch potential problems before they turn fatal. As we grow older, the health of our lungs becomes a crucial factor in our overall well-being. Respiratory diseases, particularly those that emerge after the age of 75, can significantly impact the quality of life and contribute to an early death. Our lungs, like the rest of our body, are incredibly resilient, but they are also vulnerable to environmental factors, lifestyle choices, and the natural aging process. Respiratory diseases such as pneumonia, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease (COPD), and lung infections are among the most common causes of death in older adults. And much of this is preventable if we understand the risk factors and take proactive steps throughout our lives. Pneumonia is a leading cause of death among the elderly, especially after the age of 75. It can be caused by bacteria, viruses, or fungi, and it leads to severe inflammation of the lungs, making it difficult for the body to absorb oxygen. In older adults, pneumonia can be especially dangerous because the immune system weakens with age, making it harder for the body to fight infections. The risk of developing pneumonia is further exacerbated by pre-existing conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, or a history of smoking. The symptoms of pneumonia can often be mistaken for a simple cold or flu, but the effects are far more serious. The older we get, the less resilient our bodies become, and what might once have been a mild illness can turn life-threatening. The best defense against pneumonia is vaccination. Vaccines against pneumococcal pneumonia and the flu can reduce the risk of infection, making them crucial for those over the age of 75. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, is another major respiratory condition that becomes more prevalent with age. COPD is a group of progressive lung diseases that make it hard to breathe, and it includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. The most significant risk factor for COPD is smoking, but long-term exposure to air pollution, dust, and chemicals can also contribute to the development of the disease. For people who have smoked for many years, the damage to the lungs may not be immediately apparent, but over time, the cumulative effects of smoking lead to irreversible damage. COPD makes it harder for the lungs to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide, causing shortness of breath, a persistent cough, and fatigue. As the disease progresses, it can lead to respiratory failure, which is often fatal. Even for non-smokers, exposure to pollutants or a history of respiratory infections in childhood can increase the risk of COPD as they age. The physical changes that come with aging also impact lung function. As we get older, the elasticity of the lungs decreases and the ability of the chest wall to expand diminishes. This means that older adults have less lung capacity, and their ability to take in and expel air becomes impaired. Additionally, the cilia, tiny hair-like structures in the lungs that help clear out debris and mucus, become less effective as we age. This makes older adults more vulnerable to infections, as the lungs are less capable of clearing out harmful particles that may enter through the airways. A weakened immune system further complicates this, as the body's ability to fight off respiratory infections is diminished. Environmental factors play a significant role in the development and exacerbation of respiratory diseases. Exposure to air pollution, secondhand smoke, or even chemicals in the workplace can increase the risk of lung diseases in older adults. Air pollution, in particular, is a significant concern in urban areas where pollution levels are high. The particles in polluted air can irritate the lungs, leading to chronic inflammation, reduced lung function, and a higher likelihood of developing conditions like COPD. Even if someone hasn't smoked a single cigarette in their life, living in a highly polluted area can increase their chances of developing respiratory issues as they age. Maintaining good respiratory health requires more than just avoiding harmful substances. Regular physical activity is one of the most effective ways to improve lung function. Exercise strengthens the muscles involved in breathing and helps to increase lung capacity. For older adults, even light activities like walking or swimming can have significant benefits. In addition, staying active helps maintain a healthy weight, which reduces the strain on the heart and lungs. Respiratory conditions like sleep apnea, which is common among older adults, are exacerbated by excess weight. So managing a healthy weight can alleviate some of the pressures on the respiratory system. It is also essential to monitor lung health regularly, especially if there are risk factors such as a history of smoking, exposure to pollutants, or existing respiratory conditions. Regular checkups with a healthcare provider can help detect early signs of respiratory problems before they become severe. Spirometry, a test that measures lung function, can help identify conditions like COPD before symptoms become debilitating. Early detection allows for timely interventions such as medications or lifestyle changes that can significantly improve quality of life. In addition to medical care, it's crucial to be mindful of the environment in which you live. For those in areas with high pollution or seasonal air quality concerns, staying indoors on days with poor air quality can make a difference. Using air purifiers in the home, particularly in the bedroom, can help reduce indoor air pollution. People with respiratory issues should also avoid environments with significant allergens, such as mold or dust, which can trigger flare-ups and make breathing more difficult. Ultimately, the key to preventing respiratory diseases in older age is understanding the risks and taking preventative measures early in life. Avoiding smoking, reducing exposure to pollutants, staying active, and seeking medical care when necessary can all significantly reduce the risk of respiratory diseases. The lungs, while vulnerable with age, can remain strong and resilient if they are properly cared for, allowing you to live a longer, healthier life. As we age, the risk of developing diabetes increases significantly, especially after the age of 75. Diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes, is a chronic condition that affects how the body metabolizes sugar glucose, leading to high blood sugar levels that, over time, can cause significant damage to vital organs such as the heart, kidneys, eyes, and nerves. The impact of diabetes on the body is profound, and when not properly managed, it can lead to a range of severe complications that affect quality of life and shorten lifespan. However, the onset and progression of diabetes are largely influenced by lifestyle factors, making it a preventable condition, or at least one that can be controlled through conscious decisions and early intervention. Type 2 diabetes is the most common form of diabetes in older adults. It typically develops when the body becomes resistant to insulin, the hormone responsible for helping cells absorb glucose from the bloodstream. Over time, the pancreas cannot produce enough insulin to keep blood sugar levels in check, leading to a rise in glucose levels. This process is often gradual, and many people don't notice symptoms until significant damage has already been done. Common symptoms include frequent urination, increased thirst, fatigue, and blurred vision, but in the early stages there may be little to no noticeable effects. By the time symptoms appear, blood sugar levels may already be dangerously high. One of the main factors that contribute to the development of diabetes is obesity. As we age, it becomes more difficult to maintain a healthy weight due to a slowing metabolism, reduced physical activity, and changes in hormonal levels. Excess fat, particularly around the abdomen, leads to insulin resistance, where the body's cells become less responsive to insulin. This makes it harder for the body to regulate blood sugar, setting the stage for diabetes. In fact, studies show that individuals who are overweight or obese are at a significantly higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. In addition, a poor diet that is high in processed foods, sugary snacks, and refined carbohydrates can further contribute to the development of obesity and insulin resistance. A diet rich in unhealthy fats, sugars, and refined grains leads to spikes in blood sugar and increases the body's need for insulin, eventually overwhelming the system and leading to diabetes. Sedentary behavior is another key contributor to the onset of type 2 diabetes. As we age, physical activity tends to decline, whether due to chronic health issues, lack of time, or the natural aging process. However, a lack of exercise is one of the most significant risk factors for diabetes. Physical activity helps the body use insulin more effectively and allows muscles to absorb glucose from the bloodstream, which lowers blood sugar levels. Regular exercise also helps maintain a healthy weight, reduces inflammation, and improves overall cardiovascular health, all of which play a role in preventing or managing diabetes. Even moderate activity, such as walking or swimming, can have a significant impact on blood sugar levels and reduce the risk of developing diabetes. Family history and genetics also play a role in the likelihood of developing diabetes. If someone has a parent or sibling with diabetes, they are at a higher risk of developing the condition themselves. However, genetic predisposition doesn't guarantee that an individual will develop diabetes. It simply means that they may be more vulnerable. Lifestyle choices remain the most significant factor in determining whether or not diabetes will manifest. Genetics may set the stage, but it is lifestyle factors such as diet, physical activity, and weight management that ultimately determine whether the disease will develop. Another major factor contributing to the rise of diabetes in older adults is the prevalence of high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Both conditions are common in older age and are strongly linked to diabetes. High blood pressure, in particular, damages the blood vessels, which can make it harder for the body to process glucose. In combination with high cholesterol, which leads to plaque buildup in the arteries, these two conditions can significantly increase the risk of diabetes and its associated complications, including heart disease and stroke. The good news is that type 2 diabetes is manageable and in many cases preventable. Healthy lifestyle choices, especially in middle age and beyond, can dramatically reduce the risk of developing diabetes. Maintaining a balanced diet that includes plenty of fiber, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats, while limiting processed foods and sugary snacks is essential. The Mediterranean diet, which emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats like olive oil, has been shown to help regulate blood sugar levels and reduce the risk of developing diabetes. Avoiding sugary drinks and choosing water or unsweetened beverages can make a significant difference in maintaining healthy blood sugar levels. Regular physical activity is equally important in managing and preventing diabetes. Exercise helps the body utilize insulin more effectively and lowers blood sugar levels. It also helps with weight management, which reduces the risk of developing insulin resistance. Ideally, adults over 75 should aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity, such as brisk walking, per week, along with muscle strengthening exercises on 2 or more days a week. Even if a person has already been diagnosed with diabetes, regular physical activity can help keep the condition under control and prevent complications. For those already living with diabetes, blood sugar monitoring, medication, and regular checkups are essential for managing the condition. Proper medication, such as oral medications or insulin, can help keep blood sugar levels within a healthy range. Blood sugar monitoring is crucial, as it allows individuals to track their levels and make adjustments to their diet, activity level, and medication as needed. Regular checkups with a healthcare provider help detect complications early, such as kidney damage, nerve damage, or eye problems, so they can be treated before they become severe. In addition to physical health, mental well-being is also vital in managing diabetes. Stress, depression, and anxiety can all raise blood sugar levels and interfere with diabetes management. It's essential for individuals with diabetes to find ways to manage stress, whether through relaxation techniques, hobbies, or social support. The mind-body connection is powerful, and mental health plays a significant role in overall physical health. The key to managing and preventing diabetes is awareness and proactive action. By making healthy lifestyle choices, staying active, eating a balanced diet, and monitoring blood sugar levels, older adults can significantly reduce the risk of developing diabetes or manage the condition if already diagnosed. The earlier one takes action, the better the outcome, and with the right approach, many of the devastating complications of diabetes can be avoided. As we age, the risk of mental health decline increases, making it a critical factor in the overall well-being of individuals over the age of 75. Cognitive decline, depression, and other forms of mental deterioration, such as dementia, are not only common but can also significantly affect the quality of life, independence, and social functioning of older adults. These issues, though often seen as inevitable parts of aging, can often be mitigated with proper care, proactive health strategies, and strong social support. The effects of mental health decline are not merely psychological. They can also have profound physical consequences, impacting everything from physical health to social relationships. The connection between the mind and body is powerful, and mental well-being is integral to maintaining overall health as we age. Cognitive decline, which includes conditions such as Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia, is one of the most concerning aspects of aging. Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, characterized by the progressive loss of memory, reasoning, and language skills. As the disease advances, it severely affects an individual's ability to perform everyday tasks, and often leads to a loss of independence. While aging is a natural process, and some decline in memory and cognitive function is to be expected, Alzheimer's disease is a disease process that accelerates this decline to debilitating levels. Unfortunately, there is no cure for Alzheimer's, but research suggests that early detection and intervention can help manage symptoms and slow down its progression. The factors that contribute to cognitive decline and dementia are complex. Genetics, age, and family history all play a role, but lifestyle factors are also critically important. Physical activity, for example, has been shown to have a significant impact on cognitive health. Regular exercise improves blood flow to the brain, reduces inflammation, and helps maintain the health of brain cells, all of which can reduce the risk of dementia. Mental stimulation is another crucial factor. Engaging in activities that challenge the brain, such as reading, learning new skills, or solving puzzles, can help build cognitive reserve, which acts as a buffer against the development of cognitive decline. Keeping the brain active and engaged, even in later life, can help slow down the onset of dementia and reduce its severity. Social engagement also plays a vital role in mental health. Loneliness and social isolation are significant risk factors for both depression and cognitive decline in older adults. Research has shown that older individuals who are socially isolated are at a higher risk of developing depression, dementia, and other forms of mental decline. Social interaction provides mental stimulation, emotional support, and a sense of purpose, all of which are essential for maintaining mental health. Maintaining strong relationships with family, friends, and community members can provide both the emotional and intellectual stimulation needed to protect the brain against the effects of aging. Mental health issues such as depression are common in older adults, and they often go undiagnosed. Depression in older individuals can manifest differently than in younger adults, often showing up as physical symptoms such as fatigue, changes in appetite, or difficulty sleeping. The stigma around mental health can make it harder for older adults to seek help, and many mistakenly attribute feelings of sadness or isolation to simply the challenges of growing older. However, depression is not an inevitable part of aging, and it can be treated effectively through therapy, medication, or a combination of both. Depression, if left untreated, can contribute to further physical decline, as it may reduce motivation to care for oneself, exercise, or engage in social activities. The decline in mental health and cognitive function can also affect physical health, making it harder for individuals to manage other chronic conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, or high blood pressure. When someone is struggling with depression or cognitive decline, they may be less likely to follow medical advice, take medications as prescribed, or maintain a healthy lifestyle. For example, individuals with dementia may forget to take their medication, or they may have difficulty maintaining proper nutrition. The interconnectedness of mental and physical health underscores the need for a comprehensive approach to health care that addresses both the body and the mind. Preventing mental health decline requires a holistic approach that incorporates physical, mental, and social well-being. Staying physically active, engaging in cognitively stimulating activities, maintaining strong social ties, and addressing mental health issues such as depression early on are all critical factors in promoting mental wellness in older age. Additionally, having regular health checkups that include screenings for cognitive decline and depression can help identify issues before they become more severe. Early intervention is key to managing conditions like dementia and depression, and it can provide individuals with the tools and support they need to maintain a good quality of life. As we grow older, it's easy to fall into the trap of assuming that mental decline is an inevitable part of the aging process. However, the truth is that maintaining mental health in older age is entirely possible, and it is within our control to a great extent. Through lifestyle choices, maintaining social connections, and addressing mental health concerns proactively, we can significantly reduce the impact of cognitive decline, depression, and other mental health issues. It's a matter of recognizing the importance of mental health and taking the necessary steps to safeguard it, ensuring that we age not only with physical health, but with mental clarity, purpose, and emotional well-being. As we approach the later stages of life, it becomes increasingly clear that while aging is an inevitable process, many of the leading causes of death after the age of 75 are not. They are often the result of lifestyle choices, environmental factors, and neglect, which, while difficult to avoid entirely, can be managed and mitigated with the right actions. Through awareness, prevention, and early intervention, we can significantly reduce the risks associated with cancer, respiratory diseases, diabetes, and mental decline. It is crucial that we take charge of our health by making informed decisions, adopting healthier habits, and seeking medical support when necessary. Aging doesn't have to mean a decline in quality of life, and we have the power to influence the trajectory of our health in profound ways. By prioritizing our physical and mental well-being, remaining socially connected, and fostering a healthy lifestyle, we can not only add years to our lives, but more importantly, life to our years. The journey through the later stages of life can be fulfilling and vibrant with the right mindset and care. We must remember that health is a continuous, lifelong commitment, one that doesn't end with age. It's a dynamic process shaped by the decisions we make each day, and through thoughtful action, we can ensure that our later years are not defined by illness, but by the vitality and strength we bring into them. So, as we move forward, let us embrace the responsibility to protect our health, cherish our bodies, and nurture our minds, because the truth is, the quality of our life in old age is far more within our control than we often realize. Take action today and shape your tomorrow.